On today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to be looking at a pedal from our friends at JHS. Before I get into what we're going to talk about, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking on the notification bell. Your interaction with us matters. It helps us engage great people in the industry. And in this case, we have engaged Josh. He's been kind to the channel directly, and we're always curious about the 3 Series pedal, but we were able to go to Zzounds, and we got in the JHS Series 3 Reverb. But the Beard's going to say a little bit about this and a little bit more.
Yeah, so if you missed the video we put out right before this one, it would have been the Fundamental series from Walrus. So when we saw that, we've always wanted to do the 3 series. When we saw the Fundamental series come out, we've talked to Josh several times for things on the channel. We've actually interviewed and talked to Colt Westbrook over at Walrus several times. So we were like, you know, we want to see them both. So we called up Zzounds and said, Billy, send them over. So he sent us a couple to start with. We have, I think, 6 pedals to start with. Today we're diving into the Reverb. If you'd like to see how that, it's not really dare to compare. It's just we're just doing them. It's it's something we were interested in.
We think they're similar. They're 2 American companies that wanted to build things in America, in the United States, at a lower price point than their other pedals. We've engaged with both of them, so we think they're very similar in that way. Price point within equal or $30 of each other, probably.
So we wanted to check them out, see which ones we like.
So we got the Reverb in first, and don't worry, we had the box, several boxes actually over there. So we tried to go through, the Walrus had a toggle switch that was Hall, plate, and spring. Right. This does not. It just basically has reverb, EQ, decay, and pre-delay. So when we tried to dial up the similar sounds, we just kind of had to, in our head in reference, or maybe even played a little bit of the track back to try to get as one for one as we could without being able to flip it to spring or Hall. So on the Walrus audio, we started on the spring.
Right.
I had to look. And so my equivalent to what I played on the Walrus, I dialed up this on the JHS, played it with the Silver Sky here on my left through the Tyler JT22, and this is what I did.
So you'll notice we're playing the same thing, basically playing the same things we played in both videos. So I played the same thing for the spring and the other one. We tried, it was more in our head than it was playing tracks back, so if they're way different, forgive us. But you get an idea what, you know, how I would dial up like a spring reverb with this pedal for that same kind of sound.
So the next thing we dialed up with this was Hall, again, without having it labeled. So I put myself in a big Hall with a lot of decay. I tried to play some big Whitesnake approved chords and played this.
I don't know if it's the Hall setting, but I tried to get that big reverb like I got last time. Paired it with the Abacus pedal from 23.5. Justin sent this over. Really interesting take. He actually sent me a message like, you've never seen anything like it. I was like, yeah, right.
He wasn't lying.
He wasn't lying. So really cool. We're looking forward to diving into that more. But here is my big Hall type sound.
Jason brought the Abacus to the Hall. When I left the Hall, I grabbed the Abacus and then we tried to do a plate reverb. And with that, I dialed up the Abacus. I played the Silver Sky in the bridge pickup, and I don't always do that, but with the Abacus and the delay or the reverb, I played with my fingers on my right hand, which I don't do. It wasn't quite chicken picking, but I did this.
So for me, sticking with the Les Paul, although I think I had the bridge split. No, I had the neck split, the bridge, and full humbucker. Right. That middle position, this is kind of the plate sound that I got. I guess it's a plate sound. So that's the JHS Reverb. I was thinking to myself, what was it called again? It's called a Reverb.
Reverb.
Right, so that's the 3 Series Reverb. We went through the sounds. 6 clips from us. You can go compare that to something else if you feel like it. If you don't, you can just, watch those. Final thoughts?
I'm going to say what I said in the other video. I'm not a big standalone reverb user because I've always had reverb in my amps up until recently when I got one of the Hendrix heads. But what I found interesting about this, because we did the Walrus first, and you could get your head wrapped around spring, plate, and hall, it's really interesting that that's all in here. It's just not labeled like that. So you can get some facsimile of all of those types of reverb in this one pedal. And the pre-delay does some pretty cool stuff depending on what you want to do with it. So, it doesn't have the sliders. It's not overtly labeled like some of the things were in the Walrus. But I thought, first experience with the JHS pedal in the 3 Series, I thought it was good. Pretty easy to dial up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, when I did the hall sound with the Abacus pedal, the first time I recorded it, I think I had the pre-delay off. I think. And I was like, that's good. And then I flipped the switch. I was like, oh, I like that better. Gets out of the way of the chords a little bit. So I re-recorded it with that switch flipped. And you can see in the video, hopefully, where the switch is if you're interested in that. So that pre-delay switch is kind of nice because you can bump it up. You can pull it out of the way. Now, what's really cool about that is one time you were playing and we turned the pre-delay off and we were like, oh, we like that better because it does get in the way, and for that particular riff it sounded good in the way. I think that was the one you did with the Abacus pedal and the kind of the plate-ish sounding setting. So overall, like it a lot. I think that's it, right?
Yeah. $99.
$99. We will put an affiliate link down in the end, down in the bottom to thank Zzounds for sending this over for us to share with you. Speaking of which, anytime we always like to thank you, everybody that's watching, clicking the notification bell, clicking the subscribe button, hitting, leaving comments. Anytime you interact with the show, like Pat said in the beginning, that really helps us out, helps us to form those relationships and get stuff in to share with you. So with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.